Happy Monday, everybody. It's Reinforced back with another week of Power Rankings. I know you guys have been looking forward to this so very much. I read the YouTube comments. I saw you guys talking to me. I saw you hinting at me. I read you, okay? I read you. Thank you for the messages. I really appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed the last video. But it's time for this video. We had a lot of action going on this past week, so let's go through it. Let's talk about it. We had tons of stomps. We saw that Seoul got absolutely demolished by the Shanghai Dragons. And so much else going on. New York Excelsior finally back, getting a lot of 3-0s, looking really good, looking tight. We like that. We like to see that from New York. But let's jump into the list without me mentioning my hair. So, number 5, Seoul Dynasty. This is a team that is currently falling down quite a bit. They did not look good at all against the Shanghai Dragons. They did get a win though. They did get a win this past week, but they did not look good against the Shanghai Dragons at all. So, makes you wonder, it's a stacked roster, this Seoul Dynasty squad, but do they really have like the strategic and tactical mind to play with some of these top teams? Because when they did play against the Shanghai Dragons, they looked pretty one-dimensional. They did not have the correct adaptation. Profit was stuck on May. Without a shadow of a doubt, Seoul Dynasty is a great team, and I do expect more things from them down the line, but they did not look up to par so far this past week. So, yeah, I want to see them improve a little bit. I want to see them get better a little bit and make some better adaptations. At number 4, New York Excelsior. I was so happy to see this team back, okay? New York Excelsior, I know you guys are watching, at least a Twitter account, because that's, you know, what engages with me. I've been so hyped on the New York Excelsior for quite some time now. The community has been pretty down on them, except for the New York Excelsior fans. Not gonna call any analysts out. Sideshow has talked, you know, a little bit about New York, how they haven't beaten any good teams so far, but they looked so dominant this past week playing against some of the Asian teams. So, really excited to see New York Excelsior at number 4. I really enjoyed the Genji and the Doomfist compositions on Paris. But even besides that, I mean, they look way better now when they're playing Libero and Sabiolbi on these May compositions. So, it looked like New York Excelsior, they're tightening up their play and they're looking better, climbing in the rankings for sure. Number 3, San Francisco Shock. They're back in the top 3. All this stemmed from the fact that they had one bad weekend where they couldn't play some of their favorite heroes way back, and they lost 2 consecutive matches against Los Angeles teams, Gladiators and Valiant. Now, they have returned to form. They have been playing very consistently well now for the past few weeks, and I think it's about time they're back in the top 3. One could even argue that they deserve the number 2 slot, but I think that would be pretty disingenuous towards the Philadelphia Fusion squad, because Philadelphia has been so good this year. But it's pretty exciting because we have a dominant team in Pacific, dominant team in Atlantic, and one dominant team in the Asia region. So that is my top 3. Number 2, the Philadelphia Fusion, and I don't need to talk a lot about the Philadelphia Fusion. You guys know the deal. This is a fantastic squad. Carpe, early candidate for League MVP. Let me know in the YouTube comments, do you think Carpe is the League MVP so far this year, 2020? Let me know. If you have any other candidates, feel free to put it down there. I'll read it. I'll bring it up the next time around. But I do not need to talk a ton about the Philadelphia Fusion. So, number 2. For my number 1 slot, editor, can we get like a drum whirl, like drum whirl, like, come on, there it is, thank you. Number 1, the Shanghai Dragons. I mean, holy wow, what a journey, from 0-42 to this. Unbelievable, isn't it? Number 1, the Shanghai Dragons. There's no denying about it. This squad is stacked, okay? And I made some silly comment in the preseason about Void, and you know, we don't need to bring that up again. But when you look at the recent performances, I mean, they are so dominant. They're looking so very well. Particularly impressive against the Seoul Dynasty this past week was their adaptation, the many looks they actually showed. You know, one of the hallmarks of a great team is actually being able to play a lot of different compositions to a very high standard and being able to adapt in every moment. And I definitely think the Shanghai Dragons, these past couple of weeks, they've shown so many looks. You know, sometimes they've been beaten by the Chengdu Hunters. They've sort of opted into the Chengdu meta, which is not a great thing. But apart from that, I think that this team has been rock solid so far. A lot of standout players on this team. Void, Lee Jae-gon, I mean, he looks so good as well on the Lucio. Very aggressive, can get a bit too eager at times. And I haven't even brought up the DPS lineup, so there's a lot of great parts about the Shanghai Dragons team, and I like how they adapt to scenarios. I think it's about time with their dominant 3-0 win against Seoul Dynasty that they are the #1 team. So let me know what you think about Shanghai Dragons at #1, because I know it's a bit of a spicy pick, but it's a long time coming. I definitely think they deserve that. So let's talk about number 8, the Los Angeles Gladiators. And you know, you might be wondering, why am I talking about Los Angeles Gladiators? But I do think it's worth talking about them because with some nice performances coming out of the Asia matches this past weekend, I was able to create some separation in the rankings, okay? We don't have Guangzhou, Hangzhou, Chengdu back-to-back now in the rankings, so back-to-back-to-back, I should say. And that allows for the Los Angeles Gladiators to move around a little bit in the rankings and actually claim that top 10 spot. So with some of these Asian teams getting 3-0 this past week, I've put the Gladiators back in the top 10. I do think this is a fantastic team. They looked a bit shaky against the Valiant, but they are a really good squad and one of the better teams in the North America region, in my mind anyway. I like the tank line. I do think that they have a lot of upcoming talent on the DPS line, and Birdring is looking really crisp as well. So I wanted to highlight that for you guys at home. Los Angeles Gladiators at number 8. Apart from that, I mean, we can just go down the list a little bit without getting too in depth. There's a lot of your guys' favorites over here. We got Dallas Fuel at number 11, climbing a little bit after that win against the Houston Outlaws, which was an incredibly entertaining game. I highly recommend you to go back and watch that VOD, especially now when I've already spoiled the result for you. Sorry about that. That's how it goes. That's how it goes. That's what you get for tuning into these videos. Chengdu Hunters fall a little bit. They look a little one-dimensional, so it's, you know, it's a shame. They get some of these great wins, but then they can't really solidify their performances, so they fall down a little bit, and Florida Mayhem climb because Florida Mayhem are looking better and better every week. They played against Boston Uprising this past week, so you can't really have too many takeaways. But I do enjoy watching this Florida Mayhem team, so I did let them climb a little bit. Same goes with Valiant. I think Valiant is a good team, but they've had some rough matchups. One could make the argument that Florida Mayhem should be number 12, and the Los Angeles Valiant should be number 13. That's up to you. That's subjective. I'll allow any kind. But then, you know, the bottom of the rankings, it's the same old, same old. So not a ton of changes. I do look forward to this May format change, which John Spector announced on our Watchpoint post show this past week. So it'll be interesting to see how that affects the rest of the power rankings in the month of May. So stay tuned for more of that. I'm gonna go drink my morning coffee. I hope you guys have a fantastic week. And again, let me know in the comments down below if you think Carpe is the league MVP so far this year, or if you have any other candidate. Take care, everyone. Hope you have a great week and tune into some fantastic Overwatch this upcoming week. Much love.